What's up YouTube? I'm Chris Slater, retired F-16 pilot, living out here in beautiful Praia da Luz, Portugal. Today's video I'm really excited about. Abe Purdy is 26 years old, and with no money down, he was able to buy an investment property, build another investment property on it, and make now $40,000 to $50,000 per year, effectively passive income. He still has to manage an AirBNB, but he doesn't have a particular job per se, and he's going to get his college paid for at hopefully Stanford, all through his service in the Air Force, and then just using his brains. Really excited about it. Off to Abe. All right, awesome. Abe, thank you for taking the time to interview. So I know you're a busy man now. You got a lot of things going on out in Phoenix, but it's great to see you. So seriously, thanks for taking the time to talk on the show and put yourself out on YouTube, right? So it takes a little bit of guts. So
first of all, thanks for having me. You have helped me out so much. I don't even know if you know how much you've helped me out, but I would not be here if it was not for you. So I think I should be the one interviewing you. But since that's not the case, Phoenix it's nice out here. It's getting a little colder. It's winter time, but we're holding it down out here.
Okay, so Abe, if you could take just a minute and give a short background on how you entered the Air Force, why you entered the Air Force, and then basically how you ended up to where you are now.
So I joined the Air Force right out of high school. Like 3 months after I graduated, I went to boot camp. I joined for a lot of reasons, probably a lot of reasons that, change as as you're in and stuff. My reasoning changed. Initially it was, I didn't want to have college debt. Parents weren't going to pay for it. So that was one thing, I knew the military could help me out with. I joined to do a special tactics job. So I wanted to, kick down doors, shoot bad guys, stuff like that. So I joined out the gate to do combat control. After about 1.5 years in that training, I got medically eliminated for some broken bones that required a knee surgery, stuff like that. And then from there, I went into an air traffic control career field. And then I did that for about 4 years, finished up my 6-year enlistment back in 2018, about 2 years ago today, actually. And since then, I've just been kind of chugging away at college, working on, little real estate endeavors that I have. As you know, I bought the house. I converted that into an investment property. And then basically, for my first year out of the military, my whole job was just to make this guest house, So I built it from the ground up, got the architects, did the floor plan, and then built that. And I started renting that last August. Since then, it's just basically been managing that. I don't have to work for anybody now, so I don't have any odd jobs or do any hourly work. It's pretty much just being a full-time Airbnb host, school student. And then on the side, I'm always looking for, other opportunities to come up that are good.
Awesome. Yeah. I remember we met in the tower. I've already explained it a little bit, but I was always impressed. Out of all the other airmen in the tower, I would ask like, hey, are you investing? Do you have TSP?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? I was like, do you have TSP? Do you have TSP? I was shocked how many people said no.
Yeah.
But you said yes, right? And so, or at least we're invested.
I remember I said no, and then you told me that you would help me with real estate, but I had to set that up first.
Okay.
So I had to set up that TSP account and work on my retirement.
Okay. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, that's huge, man. Yeah,
I remember you would. I think we would go on chow. I think this is even in your book, Military Millionaire. Like, we would go on the chow runs or whatever, where somebody would go run and get like food at a restaurant for everybody, right? And you'd all pitch in. And I remember you were like, you guys should be saving your money, right? You should, pack your lunch, something like that. Save that money, to buy appreciating assets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
that's right. Every day, man. Every day they would go and pay like $10, for some food. And the chow. I would go to the chow hall. I was like the only lieutenant colonel, at the chow hall. But
Yeah,
man, it
yep,
was
definitely.
really, it was much cheaper, and the food was pretty good. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
So
it was
man, I'm glad you
beautiful.
listened, dude. That's why basically I wanted to have you on and basically go through on how it's worked for you specifically, I guess, on the real estate side, because that's, I think, where you've really shined. So we
Yeah,
found that
absolutely.
house together. I remember we looked at some houses that I just found online. Was like, hey, what do you think of this? But you found this house that you ended up actually buying. Um, is from what I remember.
Um, I I think you sent this house to me with like a list of other houses.
Hmm.
Because I remember we were looking for areas that were in the East Valley, stuff in urban locations, central.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, we did a walkthrough. Um, and we weren't quite sure on it, but then of course we ran the numbers,
Hmm.
you had me look up what my, capitalization rate was going to be. We
Hmm.
did some rental comps. We
Hmm.
looked at what my gross was going to be. And then I think, we figured after looking at everything, that it was going to be a good investment. And, we were right. It ended up being great.
Awesome. Yeah, and it wasn't like rocket science, right? I mean, you mentioned some terms like market capitalization, like gross. I mean, you're really just looking at how much money you're going to get in, right, from roommates that you were able to find, and then how much you were going to have to pay,
Exactly.
right? I mean, basically. And so, how
Yeah.
did it
Yeah.
work? Yeah.
Basically, it worked. It worked out great. It's been working out great. I mean, I think we actually went into contract for a fourplex, which is, 4 unit, property, which
Hmm.
is, you know, an investment property, right? Like anybody that buys a fourplex is buying it to make an investment. But we ended up realizing that buying just a single family home and then kind of just like making
Hmm.
each room a unit sort of, made sense too. It was cheaper, and then our margins are a little bit bigger for that. But yeah, we bought this place, 200,000. I remember, back in 2016. My mortgage. Sorry, I'm like a little bit. It's like cold out here. It's like
So,
I'm from Phoenix, and I'm like out here in the morning, and I'm like a little shivering. But
so
basically, it was $1,100 a month mortgage, which was just a little bit under my BAH. So the whole idea was we started looking for a house as soon as I got the off base housing thing approved, which, as you know, in the military is like an extra
hmm.
$1,200 raise for an E3 like myself, E4. So as soon as that happened, we found a house that fit that criteria. I started paying $1,100 a month on this, and then I rented each room out for $600 a month.
Nice.
So I was making about $700 a month, just off the top of that,
Yeah, it's
which
amazing.
which was great, extra income for me. They helped me pay my mortgage. I lived there for free, so everything was perfect.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, was it difficult having the roommates? I'm sure some people are maybe concerned about having three different roommates. Or
Yeah,
was it hard or
yeah,
any issues? Or
um, so I've actually
they may
never,
watch it, so I don't know, maybe.
yeah,
They may watch this show.
so I've actually never not had roommates. I've never been in a living situation where I didn't have roommates. Because I joined right out of high school, and then of course you're in the dorms,
Hmm.
barracks and the boot camp and stuff like that. So it's been fine. I've kind of set it up so that like it's a good situation. Like an example, I don't have like a common area with like a TV,
Hmm.
so you don't have people like hanging out all the time, and then of course, you set the expectations ahead of time, like, dishes can't be left out, we keep it clean. And then of course just finding, quiet, respectful tenants. And I've so far haven't had any bad eggs, so it's been really good with that. Definitely.
That's awesome. And so the whole right from day one, you were making $700, and you were living there for free, essentially. So you didn't have to pay for a place to live, and you were getting 700 on top of your mortgage. That's correct.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so the numbers worked out. I think we were conservative when we initially did the numbers, so that's even better, right? So
Yep. Yeah,
awesome.
definitely. Yep. Yeah,
And
very good.
and because you have to live there for a VA loan, right? So you got it under using your VA loan, so you didn't have to put any money down because it was your first house for your VA loan. But you had to live there, is what I remember. So that was kind of the only thing.
Yep.
Which you were planning on living there. So
Right. Yeah. And then I believe you only have to live there for like a year or so, or had the intent of living there. And so now, like when I move, it'll still be a VA loan unless I convert it to a conventional, which I'm thinking about doing. But I'll still be in the clear to have like it be a rental property under the VA loan, which is nice.
yeah. So you can refinancing is pretty easy, man. Actually. So you would just you're basically refinancing to a conventional loan if you did that to free up, or you have up to 400,000, and since that house was only 200,000, you could get another VA loan for 200,000. So like if
for the difference.
Yeah.
And it's actually raised, so it's based off the county. But in Maricopa County, I think I'm good. I'm VA insured more or less for up to like 510,000.
Oh, excellent.
So if I cut the difference, I'm working with about 310,000 now to play with to do another home, no money down, and I think that's huge. That's huge because like myself, I was an E4. I was like living on base. I was like 20, 21, 22 years old. I didn't have like a savings. I think when we bought this place, I had like $1,000 maybe that I had, but it didn't matter because like it's a VA loan. People are moving in, so like literally anybody in my situation could have done the exact same thing. Granted their credit was 600 or better, right?
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I mean, it really is. It's a great benefit. Like the VA loan is so awesome for like guys right in your situation. Well, I mean, anybody really. I used it. The only thing is when you go to use it again, they put on a funding fee. Do you know about the funding fee?
Yeah. So I went through that process. I've actually refied the place twice. Once last November was to get the equity out to pay off my debt to build a guest house.
Yeah.
And then the second time was just because rates like shot way down for COVID. So I wanted to catch like a 2.5 rate, and I got that. But I am a disabled veteran, so that waived funding fee now.
Oh,
so
okay, yeah.
No
so
funding
you're waived.
fee if you're at least 10%. Yep.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so that's amazing. Yeah, it worked out great. So that's that house. From my own personal experience, is I try not to refinance. If you can avoid refinancing, I think it would work better for you. Because if you keep refinancing, like you never get to where you're actually owning the house, or buying it. You're not paying the principal down. You just keep, it's just to end the circle. So I try.
Right. Yeah.
2.5 is amazing, man. Yeah. That's on a 30-year or 15.
30-year. I should have done a 15. I mean, it would have been smarter looking ahead to just do a 15 and have it paid off sooner.
Yeah.
But the way I kind of run my real estate investing and stuff is I want to have as much passive income as possible. So I'm looking at like my money off the top on the month
instead of principal
looking down the road 15 years.
That makes sense. All right, so let's talk about how you refinanced to get the cash to pay for the guest house. How that whole process went. Curious.
All right, so it was actually a super easy process. Homes in Phoenix, at least in my area, appreciate really close to 20% a year.
That's crazy.
Which is insane. Like Phoenix is such a fast growing city. I mean, and believe it or not, COVID-19 has like helped raise the price of home. A lot of people coming from California and the Midwest and Chicago, and because of that, I was able to pay off, the debt I had on building the AirBNB last year with just doing a cash out refinance. Of course, they check the debt to income. They check your credit, and they do the appraisal on the house. Make sure make sure they have a solid number to know what your actual equity is. So I owed 190 on the house, I believe, last year, and then they appraised it at just over 300. And
Wow.
with the VA, yeah, with the VA, you can use up to, I think, 100% of the equity, which is really nice. So if I wanted, I could have pulled out, close to 100,000 to use. And it's nice to have that cash liquid to use and leverage towards stuff. But obviously you don't want to pull out too much because your monthly payment's going to go up.
Yeah.
But with the way I had a rate drop, and then I took out about 60,000. So my monthly payment went up like $100 a month, which wasn't too bad.
Nice.
But then I got the cash. I paid off my car. I paid off personal loan on the guest house, stuff like that. Kind of consolidated things all into my home loan.
Yeah, so that's pretty advanced. It's like a double-edged sword, right? It can be really effective if you use it like you did for investing. You invest in the guest house, and I'm guessing your car loan was a higher percentage. Or
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so basically you're using that. You could get in trouble where you take the money out, the cash, and then you just blow it. You buy a car, you buy some fancy car or something.
Yeah.
But since you used it for another further investment, I think that makes sense, right? So that's definitely advanced. You can get yourself into trouble, I think, just if you use it the wrong way. So yeah, I'm glad you used it that way.
I need to be careful because I'm like shopping around for a bank right now to do my second refinance, to buy hopefully another property and drop my rate. And I need to be careful because right now the house they're estimating, the banks that I've talked to are estimating it'll come in at like 400 to 420. And I definitely don't need all that equity, or all that money out. So I need to find a good balance, a good number with an interest rate that won't raise my monthly too much. I don't want to end up owing like $400,000 on the house and mess up there. So you're right. I'll definitely play that smarter.
No, I mean, you're leveraging off of your leverage. You're leveraging funds. Basically, you're using your equity to borrow more money, essentially, yep. Right? So it depends, right? You're incurring more debt, but if you use that debt to build more money, to build your net worth, then it makes sense. But are you tracking your net worth? Are you tracking the Excel? Telling you, man.
Chris, all right?
Yeah.
You've got definitely a few things, and I've thought about it for myself, and I don't really, besides this place, I don't have a whole lot to track. But yeah, definitely tracking it. Maybe not quite as close as I should be, but I'm getting on it.
Yeah, I just do once a month, 5 minutes. What are my, what's your TSP at, and then what's the house value at? And I use the house value on Zillow, and then I subtract the mortgage. That's it. Yeah, just to get equity. And once you build a little formula into Excel, then I just put in the number into Zillow. That's it. And
Is there any way that I can get the Excel spreadsheet you have, the one that's set up with the formula, so that so I could just plug in my information, or is that out?
Yeah,
to download anywhere?
Great idea, man. I'll put it in the description. I'll put a link to it in the description. So I'll have it in there. And about the guest house. So let's move on to the guest house. How does that work with the Airbnb? I know you're near the airport, which initially I thought would be bad, but for sound, etc. But what I realized is you're right. Here's the runway. You're right here, so there's not that much sound, right?
Right. Yeah. It's not bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah. So I guess.
And I like airports. I used to work at one and was in the Air Force. So I honestly, when I hear a plane taking off or landing hard, I'm like, all right, there we go. But it's not too bad. It actually ended up being kind of sort of You know, it's what gets people to come here. You know, that's kind of my I think it's even in my title on my Airbnb. You know, it's near the airport, and that attracts a lot of people. You know, because there's nowhere else near the airport. Near the airport's not like a super hip, you know, cheap area. But, you know, I was able to put this place here, and I'm 5 minutes away from it. So I'll get, you know, I'd say like at least half of my guests are people that are just like on the last night of the vacation, or they're just getting in. And so they want a quick place to spend the night. And so it's worked out great.
And is it still, even with COVID, are you able to fill it, or how's that working?
So yeah, I got really lucky. I started it in August, and then we had like 4 or 5, about 6 good months before COVID hit, where I would stay fully booked. You know, I'd have like 2-3 vacant nights a month on average. And then March was my best month ever. This past March for the spring training and stuff like that goes on here in Phoenix. And
yeah, well, that's your first year with this, because you started August 2019. So
yep.
So that was your first spring training, right? Was in the 2020 March.
Yep. And that went good. So March was a killer month. And then, you know, right around late March is when they started doing the shutdowns and the travel stuff. And I had about 15 to 20 cancellations of like guests, you know, because they were like realizing, oh, we're not going to travel. We're not going to go on our vacation, you know. And so April was completely empty. No one stayed here in April. Which ended up being kind of nice, because I used it. I just stayed in there for a month and kind of like found like the little things that I wanted to fix, or, you know, the bed was squeaky. I fixed that, just kind of like quality control. So I did that. And then let me see, in May was a killer month. I stayed booked up again. And then really COVID forced me to drop my prices from $120 a night with a $30 cleaning to about $70-$80 a night with the $30 cleaning. And then since then, basically since May, I've been trying to work my price back up. And so right now I'm back at 100 with the $30 cleaning, and still trying to, you know, get back up to 120. But as far as vacancy, it's been very low. It's been good. I got really lucky also because Airbnb reached out to me early on, and they wanted me to be like a plus property. It's called like Airbnb Plus, and what it is basically like the Uber Select, you know, or the Uber Black of Uber. You know, you have like certain amenities that you have to have. The house has a certain look. They sent out an interior designer to come like make a theme out of the whole place and fix it up, and a photographer, and that has been kind of my saving grace, because like typically when you look me up, or you just look up homes in Phoenix, I'll usually be like in the top 5, which has been really good. So for whatever reason, the algorithm works for me, and people always stay here.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So then, are you able to do that like full time? You mentioned you do student. Are you doing any air traffic control work?
Yeah, no air traffic control work, none at all.
Yeah, there's probably not much going on, or yeah.
Yeah, I when I got out, you know, of course, most of my peers, that's the thing you do is, you know, you're going to stay in and retire from the military, which is obviously a great option and works really well for most people. Or in the air traffic control career field, you know, you might get out and then go to the FAA or go do some contracting work in the Middle East or something like that. And the money's really good, but just the time, you know, it wasn't my passion. I didn't see myself doing that for a long time or retiring out of it, you know, so I kind of wanted to get out of it. A little stressful, you know, time, hours, stuff like that were really what I was looking for. So I got completely out of that. And with the house income and the Airbnb income, I'm like able to comfortably go to school full time without using my GI Bill, and just kind of like focus on, you know, what I want to focus my time on, which is getting into a top tier school and, you know, building my net worth, finding another place to buy that looks good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for the Airbnb, so can you just like ballpark figures, how much you put into it, and then what your like monthly, profit is or income?
Yeah, definitely.
If you're comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me see. Hang on a second. I'm gonna go put a jacket on.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. No worries.
Like shivering out wearing a blanket.
Yeah.
All right.
Purdy. Yeah. Air Force. Nice.
Nice. Yeah. Only what I could find. But let me see. So the cost of the Airbnb, it ended up being about $85,000 to build out, and that basically entailed getting the architect, and then getting a general contractor, and then all the stuff that's involved with that, the foundation, everything with that. It ended up being about 85 furnishings, cabinets, fridge, bed, furniture, all that was about 85,000. And let me try to gather my thoughts on it. It's been so long.
Yeah, you can take.
I did that with my savings, and then I took out a couple personal loans to pay that off. And those personal loans, the interest rates are really high, but I knew on the back end I was going to do the refi, cash out, and just kind of pay all that off.
And could you do it? Could you do the refi first and then use the cash, or did they require you to have the loans? I mean, could you have done it the other way? Could you have refinanced your main house, gotten the cash, and then paid it? It just didn't work with the timing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it didn't work with the timing, and then I knew that with the guest house on the property and all like the upkeep I did to the property, it would appraise for more.
I see. So that higher appraisal value you gave earlier includes both properties now. Is that correct? Okay, yep. Got it. Okay.
So out the door, it was like 85,000 to do it, and what I make off it now is on average it's like 2,600 a month. So for 2020, my earnings, and 2020 is almost over, so we just have December left, are basically 29,600. So right at 30K, which will hopefully be more next year with, COVID and stuff like that, and me being here longer and just being more established. But it's about 30K for 2020, 2,600 a month. That's gross. I have a cleaning service that I pay like $30 every time they clean. And so my cleaning expenses come to right around like $5,000 for 2020. So my net off it's about $25,000.
Awesome. So 25,000, and then how much work is it? Is it a lot of work for you to set up the property? Or
no, it's almost no work because I have my cleaning service does really everything that I need. The only work I do is sort of managerial. I'll go look at it, make sure everything's good. Obviously restock, supplies, and then correspond with guests and bookings and stuff like that. But I can pretty much do it all on here now. Right? So it's been pretty good with that. And off of this property too, I made right around $30,000 this year.
Wow, that's awesome.
Gross. And so like the net off of both properties is right at 40,000. And then when I move out of this place to go to college, I'll be at close to 50,000 net, which I'm extremely happy with,
Yeah.
And
that's awesome, man. I mean, so would you call it like a part-time job or even less? Would you consider it passive income? How would you consider it?
I would consider it, I guess let me put it this way. Like when I'm here, I definitely do put in, like maybe I put in my time, right? So it's not completely passive. I obviously need to have my phone by me so that I can, message people back quickly and stuff like that. But it's something that would be really easy to outsource to somebody else. I could have my little sister take care of that for $100 a month, and I'm able to travel right now. So I've done some travel this year, and the guest house runs itself. This house runs itself. But of course, when I'm here, I always find work to do. Find ways to stay busy and keep improving. But if I when I do go to school, it'll be completely set up to sort of take care of itself. I'll have a roommate that will basically be the property manager of the Airbnb and of that house, and hopefully things go smooth.
Yeah, man, it's awesome, right? I mean, you're getting 50,000. I would like that. That's as much. That's as much as my pension or more, actually. So that's awesome, man. Almost passive income. So yeah, excellent. Super pumped. Glad it worked out. So anything else you want? Would you recommend the Air Force to any young guys out there or ladies watching the show?
Yes, absolutely. I would. I mean, the Air Force, the military, beyond shaping me as a person and instilling all the stuff we talk about, the leadership, the confidence to do things. It gave me the confidence to basically reach out to anything I think I can or want to do, to just do it. And that right now is basically trying to get into an Ivy League school as somebody who graduated high school with okay grades, nothing that impressive. It's inspired me to do stuff like that, which is totally doable. It's kind of taught me that anything is possible, just given you follow the right steps. You follow the formula, you do what past people that have seen success have done. It's a pretty simple process. Like you showed me, you just follow the steps, you do things smart, and you go in a certain direction, and eventually, you'll accomplish the goal you want to do. And the military, beyond just kind of teaching me that, has given me GI Bill, which is, free college included with, the BAH, which is the housing. So say I do get accepted into Stanford or Columbia, the BAH for California, where Stanford is $4K a month. That's
crazy.
So that's $50,000 a year I'm going to be making on addition for just going to school. So that's a really kick-ass benefit. The VA loan obviously enables virtually anybody in the military to buy a home, not have any money down, and then do exactly what I'm doing right now, or you've done. So those two are more than enough reasons to me to do at least a 4-year contract. And if you're trying to pick between services, obviously I'm biased. I'm going to say Air Force for, quality of living, transferability of military jobs to civilian sectors, higher pay. If I had joined the Marines, I probably never would have been able to do this, because they can't move out of the barracks or off base until they either get married or they rank up to sergeant, which I never did. So I would probably have gotten out of the Marines still on the base without that extra income to buy a house. But the Air Force has been awesome, and it's allowed me to do all these things, and I'm 26, and it's just a really good stepping stone for anybody. You don't know what you want to do. You don't want to get in debt. You want to develop yourself as a person, maybe. Definitely a good choice.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's been great, Abe. I really enjoyed this. I learned a ton myself. So yeah, it's great to see it worked out for you. Super pumped about the house and the Airbnb, man. It's great. So good luck getting in Stanford. Wish you all the best. We'll keep in touch. Yeah.
Appreciate it, Chris. I think what you're doing is really awesome, man. You're retiring. You were just retired, and not only are you living in Portugal, surfing every day, working on your own side hustles and stuff like that, but you're also working towards your citizenship in Portugal, your residence, which is huge. What do you have to do? You need to live there for 5 years, and then you get that?
I guess. I mean, they always change the rules. They're like, they can change it. But if you're a resident for 5 years, you learn Portuguese. All right, man. So you had to go inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a little cold out there.
Yeah. No worries, man. Dude, Abe, it's been awesome. Thanks for taking the time to talk. I wish you all the best at Stanford or Columbia or whatever college you get into.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, I appreciate the interview. It's just great chatting with you. I know you're not going to say it because you're such a humble guy, but Chris is a genius in more ways than one. Since you didn't say in your last video that I saw, I just wanted to say that you do not give yourself enough credit. You're really humble, but you have done some amazing things on top of going to the Air Force Academy, becoming a fighter pilot, which is one of the most difficult things to do, and it's the most sought after job and career. You became a fighter pilot. Not only that, you raised a happy, healthy family and became an instructor pilot, and all while doing real estate investing. You created basically an invention that you sold on Amazon. You wrote 2 books, and now you're retired and doing even more in Portugal right now, surfing every day, what it sounds like. So anything that this guy says is you should listen to and follow. I really look up to this guy, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Damn, man.
Especially with this next book that you have in the works.
Dude, I'm gonna cry, man. I'm gonna cry. Dude, thanks, dude. I'm putting all that in the video, so it'll be in there for sure. Yeah, cool, man. I appreciate it all, dude, and I'll definitely keep in touch. So.
All right, sounds good. Let me know, or I'll just keep my eye out for it, and let me know when you think about dropping it, okay?
All right, bro. Yeah, definitely. So, again, thanks for the time. This was a super interesting interview. I learned a ton. If you learned something out there, please like and subscribe to the video. It really helps the channel. It motivates me to make more content. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.